Hey, fifth grade, it's Mrs. Pritchard. I'm just going to leave off, or I'm going to start where Mrs. Alley led off. So we are on page 142, and the title is Four Things. Okay. First of all, you do get used to his face. The first couple of times I was like, whoa, I'm never going to get used to this. And then after about a week, I was like, it's not so bad. Second of all, he's actually a really cool dude. I mean, he's pretty funny. Like the teacher will say something and August will whisper something funny to me that no one else hears and totally makes me crack up. He's also just overall a nice kid. Like he's easy to hang out with and talk to and stuff. Third of all, he's really smart. I thought he'd be behind everyone because he hadn't gone to school before, but in most things, he's way ahead of me. I mean, maybe not as smart as Charlotte or Xmina, but he's up there. And unlike Charlotte, he lets me cheat off of him if I really need to, though I've only needed to a couple of times. He also let me copy his homework once, though we both got in trouble for it after class. The two of you got the exact same answers wrong on yesterday's homework, Mrs. Rubin said, looking at both of us like she was waiting for an explanation. I didn't know what to say because the explanation would have been, oh, that's because I copied August's homework. But August lied to protect me. He was like, oh, that's because we did our homework together last night, which wasn't true at all. Well, doing homework together is a good thing, Miss Rubin answered, but you're supposed to still do it separately, okay? You could work side by side if you want, but you can't actually do your homework together, okay? Got it? After we left the classroom, I said, dude, thanks for doing that. And he was like, no problem. That was cool. Fourthly, now that I know him, I would say I actually do want to be friends with August. At first, I admitted I was only friendly to him because Mr. Tushman asked me to be especially nice and all that. But now I would choose to hang out with him. He laughs at all my jokes, and I kind of feel like I can tell August anything. Like, he's a good friend. Like, if all the guys in the fifth grade were lined up against the wall and I had to choose anyone I wanted to hang out with, I would choose August. Okay, that just makes my heart happy. I love finally that he feels accepted. The next chapter is ex friends. Bleeding scream? What the heck? Summer Dawson has always been a bit out there, but this was too much. All I did was ask her why August was acting like he was mad at me or something. I figured she would know. All she said was, bleeding scream? I don't even know what that means. It's so weird because one day me and August were friends, and the next day, whoosh, he was hardly talking to me. And I haven't the slightest idea why. When I said to him, hey, August, you mad at me or something? He shrugged and walked away. So I would take that as a definite yes. And since I know for a fact that I didn't do anything to him to be mad about, I figured Summer could tell me what's up. But all I got from her was bleeding scream. Yeah, big help. Thanks, Summer. I've got plenty of other friends in school, so if August wants to officially be my ex friend, then fine. That is okay by me. See if I care. I've started ignoring him like he's ignoring me in school now. This is actually kind of hard since we sit next to each other in practically every class. Other kids I've noticed and have started asking if me and August have had a fight. Nobody asks August what's going on. Hardly anyone ever talks to him anyway. I mean, the only person he hangs out with other than me is Summer. Sometimes he hangs out with Reed a little bit, and the two Maxes got him playing Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times at recess. Charlotte, for all her goody two shoeing, doesn't even do more than nod hello when she's passing him in the hallway. And I don't know if everyone's still playing the plague behind his back because no one even really told me about it directly. But my point is that it's not like he has a whole lot of other friends he could be hanging out with instead of me. If he wants to diss me, he's the one who loses, not me. So this is how things are between us now. We only talk to each other about school stuff if we absolutely have to. Like I'll say, what did Ruben say the homework was? And he'll answer, or he'll be like, can I use your pencil sharpener? And I'll get my sharpener and out of my pencil case for him. But as soon as the bell rings, we go our separate ways. Why this is good, because I get to hang out with a lot more kids now. Before, I was hanging out with August all the time. Kids were hanging out, or kids weren't hanging out with me because they'd have to hang out with him. Or they could keep things from me, like the whole thing about the plague. I think I was the only one who wasn't on it, except for Summer and maybe the D&D crowd. And the truth is, though nobody's that obvious about it, nobody wants to hang out with them. Everybody's way too hung up on being in the popular group, and he's just as far from the popular group as you can get. But now I can hang out with anyone I want. Even if I wanted to be in the popular group, I could totally be in it. Why this is bad, or why this is bad is because, well, A, I don't actually enjoy hanging out with the popular group that much. And B, I actually like hanging out with August. So this is kind of messed up, and it's all August's fault. Interesting how things are starting to take a turn, isn't it? Okay, the next chapter, this is a short one, is snow. The first snow of winter hit right before Thanksgiving break. School was closed, so we got an extra day of vacation. I was glad about that because I was so bummed about this whole August thing. And I just want some time to chill without having to see him every day. Also, waking up to a snow day is just about my favorite thing in the world. I love that feeling when you first open your eyes in the morning and you don't even know why everything seems different than usual. And then it hits you. Everything is quiet. No cars honking, no buses going down the street. And then you run over to the window, and outside, everything is covered in white. The sidewalks, the trees, the cars on the street, your window panes. And when that happens on a school day and you find out your school is closed, well, I don't care how old I get, I'm always going to think that that's the best feeling in the world. And I'm never going to be one of those grown-ups that use an umbrella when it's snowing, ever. And just so you don't, I don't either. Dad's school was closed too, so he took me and Jamie sledding down Skeleton Hill in the park. They saw a little kid broke his neck while sledding down the hill a few years ago, but I don't know if this is actually true or just one of those legends. On the way home, I spotted this banged up wooden sled kind of propped up against the old Indian rock monument. Dad said to leave it. It was just garbage. But something told me it would make the greatest sled ever. So Dad let me drag it home, and I spent the rest of the day fixing it up. I super glued the broken slats together and wrapped some heavy duty white duct tape around them for extra strength. And then I spray painted the whole thing white with the paint I'd gotten for the alabaster sphinx I was making for the Egyptian Museum project. When it was all dry, I painted lightning in gold letters on the middle piece of wood, and I made a little lightning bolt symbol above the letters. It looked pretty professional, I have to say. Dad was like, "Whoa, Jackie, you are right about the sled." The next day, we went back to Skeleton Hill with Lightning. It was the fastest thing I've ever ridden, so much faster than the plastic sleds we'd been using. And because it had gotten warmer outside, the snow had become crunchier and wetter. Good packing snow. Me and Jamie took turns on Lightning all afternoon. We were in the park until our fingers were frozen and our lips had turned a little blue. Dad practically had to drag us home. By the end of the weekend, the snow had started turning gray and yellow, and then a rainstorm turned most of the snow to slush. And when we got back to school on Monday, there was no snow left. It was rainy and yucky the first day back from vacation. A slushy day. That's how he was feeling inside, too. I nodded. Hey, August. Or I nodded, hey, to August the first time I saw him. We were in front of the lockers. He nodded, hey, back. I wanted to tell him about Lightning, but I didn't. So crazy how their roles have reversed. Okay, I'm going to read this next chapter because it's only one page. Fortune favors the bold. So I kind of always wonder sometimes what these titles mean. Mr. Brown's December precept was, I love how this teacher does that. Fortune favors the bold. I just want to give you a minute to think. Fortune favors the bold, what that might mean. Okay. We were all supposed to write a paragraph about some time in our lives when we did something very brave and how, because of it, something good happened to us. So that makes sense. Fortune favors the bold. So sometimes it's hard, but if you're brave and you do something, sometimes you kind of get rewarded. I thought about this a lot, to be truthful. I have to say that I think the bravest thing I ever did was become friends with August. But I couldn't write about that, of course. I was afraid we'd have to read those out loud, or Mr. Brown would put them on the bulletin board like he does sometimes. So instead, I wrote this lame thing about how I used to be afraid of the ocean when I was little. It was dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else. I wonder what August wrote about. He probably had a lot of things to choose from. So again, he's just saying how much harder his life has been August's, and he has probably all these things to write about. So he's really kind of reflecting on himself. So we're going to stop there, and Mr. Thayer will continue. So until next time, I'll see you later.